Welcome, good evening, salam, and hello to everyone. We are the Black Tower Podcast. Welcome to our lovely Wednesday night live episode or Friday night non-live episode, depending on when you're listening to this. We are, as I said, the Black Tower Podcast, a Wheel of Time podcast. I am one of your illustrious hosts, Daniel, your Amin Khan Mahale.
And I am one of your base hosts, Josh, your Sorovan Mahale.
And I am your most basic of hosts, though I don't have my Starbucks cup and Ugg boots with me. They're in the mail. Just an empty Starbucks cup. That's how basic I am.
Nice.
But I am Andrew, your Bajan Mahale. Before we start getting too far into the episode, which is pointless to say because we're like 0.3 seconds in, there are some very incredible sites and people that we need to make sure that you are aware of. And we're going to start that off with our long-term, very generous, very amazing sponsor of the podcast, sponsor of the Gathering Madness. That is, of course, the Crystal Barista, who you can find at Crystal Barista, and that's barista like a coffee barista at Starbucks. See how it comes full circle?
Right.
It's like a
Full
circle.
Did it.
The triangle have corners, ends. Circle, it just keeps going.
Bow.
But you can go to crystalbarista.com and browse the Crystal Barista's amazing shop for all your needs. Mineral, rock, be they for just pretty, ooh, shiny, all the way through healing. You can also find some super, super duper epic subscription boxes that help keep someone like Josh busy the first of every month, getting them out. And as far as social medias goes, you can also find the Crystal Baristas Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest. All those links are on thecrystalbarista.com. And if I'm doing things right, you should have seen me click on some of those on screen because I'll go back to one of the last episodes and pull out what I did for that one. And just use the audio from this. I don't know.
And once you're done over there at the crystalbarista.com, why don't you pop over and get yourself some greatblight.com. You've got your shiny rocks. You've got your healing crystals. Now you just need to go ahead and hold on to those and enjoy yourself while you're going ahead and listening to amazing Wheel of Time creators create Wheel of Time content. And what better place to find all of your Wheel of Time needs than
in the Blight.
greatblight.com. They've got everything there. There's podcasts, there's YouTube channels, there are artists, there is even a chef who does some stuff. So go over there, get yourself implanted and embedded. And if you are a content creator and are somehow still not on the greatblight.com, pop over there, say hi to Nameless, make your introductions, and get yourself onto.
It's real easy. All you have to do is kneel and swear fealty to the Nameless of the Dark Lord.
Yep. That is the most important part.
He's
simple stuff. Who needs their soul anyway?
Guy.
The best part is once they've taken your soul, there are no returns, even when they want to.
That's right. That's right. And then once you're done at thegreatblight.com, you're going to go, I need some Black Tower action. And who doesn't need some Black Tower action? You're going to go swing back over to the blacktowerpod.com. You're going to see all of our amazing stuff, all of our amazing sites, our Twitter, our Instagram, our email, our good stuff there. And you're even going to see a merch link that says Black Tower merch. And you're going to go there and you're going to buy all the merch because you love it. It's amazing. And you're going to have a great time doing it. You're going to have a lot of fun.
It'll be fun. And if you want to run naked through the forums, that is also an option and encouraged.
Yep. Yes.
It's acceptable. But while you're there, you can do like a couple other people have, and you can find the link to our Patreon.
That's true.
And that is a perfect segue, not just because I said it, but because I managed to speak in actual English. But we have a Patreon shout out this episode. So thank you so much for Hetsky for joining the Black Tower, for becoming a Patreon supporter of the Black Tower at the dedicated tier. You're awesome. We love you. Your name is in the books. Congratulations on that pretty rapid promotion from soldier to dedicated.
Dude,
you can skip a couple grades.
That was talent. I've never seen a man handle
But we
a sword like
appreciate
that
it.
on day one.
Oh, I have.
We appreciate it. Your name,
I definitely
your name has
have.
been added to the big black book of bad bitches. So welcome to the Black Tower, and of course, stuff like that gets you access to listening to our live recordings, early access by about a week and a half to our episodes as they come out, and more stuff is coming soon, and maybe sooner than you think, because we are actually, unlike my commitment to read Newspring, we are actually working on Patreon. So
Indeed. That is fair.
but we have kept some
Yes.
fantastic people waiting long enough with all of our plugs and shout outs, even though I'm sure they don't mind. But we are not alone
Not
today. In
today.
the Black Tower.
So without
We are
any
joined-
further ado, we are joined
We are
by-
joined by some fantastic guests from the Dragon Reread podcast, part of the Armadillo Club. Is it the Armadillo Podcasting Club or the Armadillo Club?
Armadillo
Podcasting Club.
Podcasting Club.
There we go. The Armadillo Podcasting Club. I obviously don't know near enough about it. So if you lovely folks would like to go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us all about your podcast and the podcasting, the Armadillo Podcasting Club, we would love to hear it.
Well, we're a podcasting club. We're a club.
Woohoo!
We have
Made
a
entirely
range
of
of
armadillos.
offerings. Yeah, we're all armadillos, as you can see on this video.
Yes.
And armadillos love to podcast, but most of them are illiterate, so they can't set up the Patreon. So that's why
That makes a
Plus,
challenge.
their little hands can't do the computer.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
Great for
they're
digging,
super
bad for
cute.
typing.
But not very useful.
Right.
Well,
yeah,
and
mostly
anytime
not
anybody says
leprosy
anything
wearing these
scary
days.
on the podcast, they just
That's-
roll up into a ball and then
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah.
And then
Anyway, we have a-
they roll away. You never
We have
see
a
them
range
again.
of podcasts from the Dragon Reread to MWA, our Harry Potter podcast, and that's two. It's a range of two, and you can find them all at armadillo.club, which currently just directs to our Patreon, patreon.com/armadillo podcasting club. But you Wheel of Time fans, because you should probably check us out at thedragonreread.com. And of those armadillos, I am Jeff Lake.
I'm Malice Sullivan.
And I'm Micah Sparkman. That's the way we always do our intros. So
Nice.
I love it. That's great.
A little taste of you guys over here. Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
But
but
meanwhile,
if you do
we're on
want to check us
Crossroads.
out, oh, sorry. Go
I was
ahead.
going to say, just we're right now on Crossroads of Twilight, so we're really excited to talk to you guys. Micah and I, this is our first time reading the series. Jeff got mostly through, but I think we're past the point where you tapped out last time, right, Jeff?
I think we literally hit the point where I stopped reading when I was 15 or whatever. And it's
At
that bath scene
Crossroads?
with Elaine where she just takes a bath for a whole chapter.
It's so riveting and
Yeah.
exciting.
Well,
How could you
know,
put it
people,
down?
Man.
Well, people talk about the middle bit as being kind of like a little slow,
slog.
and we just finished. Yeah, the slog, exactly. We just finished the previous book, and I was like, I don't get it. This was, I really enjoyed it. And I was like, Winter's Heart was fun. And then we got to Crossroads of Twilight, and it's like,
last word.
Yeah.
I was like, so we're on like we're I would say we're like halfway through the book, and like I feel like every chapter is just them recapping what's happening on everyone else at the same time as the previous book. I was like, this is
I
the
will
whole,
say,
I
when it comes to slog, like when you're talking about true slog, Crossroads of Twilight has to be the sloggiest of the entire
Yes.
series.
It
That's how it
really
got
is.
its
Once
name.
you get
It's called Crossroads
through-
of Twilight because you feel like you've read it before.
We've been here before.
But before we actually go, well, first of all, I actually have a question that's not Wheel of Time related. So, on your Harry Potter podcast, are you guys also rereading that, or is that just a general? We've already read the series,
Well,
and
we
we're talking about it.
we actually shuffled up our roles on that one because Alice has read those books. I think she reads them every month.
Every
So-
week, actually, if I can manage it. Yeah.
Alice has read them dozens
like-
of times,
that's-
possibly. Yeah.
It's like 12 hours. Calm down.
No, hey, you joke, but the last book, The Deathly Hollows, I was like, we went to the midnight release party. I picked it up and I was like, this is so good. I'm just going to read the intro. Oh my God, what happens? I'm just going to read the first chapter. I finished the book and I was like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, beep, 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 my alarm goes off, time to go to work. Yeah.
You should have just done like
That's
me
a
and got the
true
last
story.
book. Should have just done
I
like
have
me
very
and got the
similar
last
experience.
book 5 days early because it was your birthday and Walmart employees are gullible. I mean, it really was my birthday, but
Wow.
Yeah,
Or
I should have
you
just
can
done
do-
that.
Wow.
The other thing that you can do is be like Andrew and read 6 books and then promise to get to the 7th one and never do so. Just
nothing
kidding.
matters after
I'm
the
going-
igloo.
Indeed. But cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, because they already mentioned it and because it's very important, this episode is going to have some spoilers, but it's actually not going to be our typical full series spoilers. It is a specialized spoilers. So go ahead and listen now for your name. If this is you, leave now. If not, you can stay, because this is a rare opportunity for you if you've read part of the series but not all of it, where you can stay.
Hey, Aaron, you haven't finished enough. You gotta
That's
gotta
right.
leave the classroom.
Balake, D
So,
nice.
if
D
you
nice,
have
guys-
read
you guys can both stay.
all of the books up through Winter's
Yeah.
Heart,
Winter's
And-
Heart, right.
the first few chapters in Crossroads of
12.
Twilight,
12 chapters.
first
12
12
chapters?
chapters.
All right, that's not bad.
I like the specificity there. If you have read all those and not anywhere after, you're good. If you have read after that, if you've not read after that, we will not be ruining after that for you in this episode with these fine people. Does
Correct.
that make sense?
Yes,
Is that
it was a
clear?
little confusing, but
Okay, but we got there.
Now with that,
Chapter 12 of Crossroads of Twilight. If you're before that, you're good. If you're after that,
You're good
And
also.
if we
And
spoil
we're gonna-
something,
we're gonna
feel
just
free to
Yeah.
hit the buzzer and call us out, and we'll.
yes. No, and
Now-
we're going to
Or
be
something.
very, very good about that, but we also suck at this. So it's going to be a combo platter of we're trying our best. Bear with us.
now
Well, to
our-
be fair, has anything happened in Crossroads of Twilight that could be spoiled at this point?
I don't think so, because again, Elaine taking a bath is like the most interesting
It's-
thing that happens in
they've
it's
this.
heard
a
about
lot of-
first bath, but what
So,
about
if you guys
second,
are
third,
there-
fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth bath?
Yeah. I mean, Fail's still in the Shido. You know, Fail does get left out in the cold naked, so that happens. That's a
Oh
spoiler.
yeah.
I
Well,
mean-
she steals that knife, but then somebody else finds it and takes it away.
Oh yeah, she didn't actually have the knife. Yeah, it'd be really
Yep.
cool if she had the knife, but no, she didn't have the knife.
Do you have a knife? No. Be a lot cooler if you
It'd
did.
be a lot cooler if you did.
All right, all right.
So our live recording chat, because of course the Dragon Reread is joining us on Discord for our Patreons that are able to come in and listen live. The one Patreon that is with us now has given their commitment to make their best attempt to behave. So
That sounds
access
promising.
the live recording discussion at your own risk. We keep it up, or at least two of us, or at least one of us, because I don't know. We'll keep it up, and if there's anything that isn't spoiler, we're more than happy to mention it. So,
Yeah, we'll keep it up.
and we can always rely
anyway.
on them to break us and make us laugh, because we
Also
are
accurate.
children at heart that still enjoy adult humor, like the phrase "we keep it up." So
Indeed.
that's the
Right.
kind of
But-
people you're dealing with. Do you regret your decision yet?
I'm getting it.
Oh, we'll get there.
If you don't, then
Not
Then
You've been
we
touched by the
are
taint.
now.
It's too late to back out. There's a joke in there too somewhere, I'm sure. But
Oh yeah,
Anyway.
the Dark One's taint is like a veritable gold mine. of
oily,
impurity.
slick,
Yeah.
well, at
slimy,
least you got to
nauseating.
see. You finally got to see the baby wipe cleansing, so
Yeah, yeah.
you're good to go on that.
Rand gets in there with he
Rand
gets a special
Rand
tool.
was-
He gets in there and really cleans that taint.
He was
Oh, yeah.
gentle yet firm.
but
Which you
also
have to be if you want to handle the taint
remember,
properly.
never would have been able to do it alone.
That's right.
Neve
needed
had
help.
been there also getting her hands a little dirty.
You need some extra. You need an extra set of hands when you're cleaning a really,
Sometimes
really
you do.
dirty taint.
That is
Right?
not the circumstance you want to get your hands dirty in. I mean, maybe
mean-
people
I
with
mean-
children are kind of used to it, from when they were babies. But as someone that has never had a kid, no, I'd rather not.
Oh
Hard
boy.
pass.
All right. Before we go any further down this particular rabbit hole,
Let's just
Wait, is
stop
that not
this
what we're
rabbit
here to
hole
talk
now.
about?
Yeah, it's
Let's
funny how
talk
we went
about-
straight to the taint.
Well, let's
I
do
mean-
this. Micah, you mentioned what we're here to talk about. What are we here to talk about?
Oh yeah, so this episode we're going to be talking a little bit about mysterious objects, is I think the term you guys use, which I think is a really good way to describe it because it covers a wide array of things, stuff that's in this world that could be artifacts of a previous age of legends, could be products of something in the future, could be products of I don't know, magic, I don't know. So the fun stuff in this world, something that I think that Robert Jordan actually does really well is like insert these
Magic mage.
items, these things, these and it's not even always given a lot of screen time, whatever you want to call it, but sometimes he just has these, like, he drops these little hints and it tickles your brain. You're like, is that something I know, or is that something I should know? Or I love it.
I think you're absolutely.
So when I was
correct
thinking
there.
of this,
100% spot on.
since we were thinking artifacts, this isn't something I would consider a tangible artifact, but it's a very idealistic mental artifact, and it's one that's often cited when we talk in the Wheel of Time community about the First Age. And correct me if you guys haven't read this, but have you read where I'm trying to find it again. I think it's Egwene that asked. Egwene asked to be told the story about Lyn, Illeyena. Does that sound vaguely familiar?
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's
Getting
the
a
first
lot of
book, isn't it?
nods.
How he flew to the moon in the belly of an eagle made of fire. Tell us about his daughter, Salia, walking among the stars. That kind of
Yeah.
stuff, which
Oh yeah.
or for us, we know Robert Jordan put those in his callbacks to things like the Apollo landing, where they talk about Salia potentially being like Sally Ride. Lyn, of course, may also be a merger of Lim, the lunar module, and Glenn, obviously. I say as I just had to read it to remember exactly what I was trying to say.
Well, there was also they refer to the battle between Moss. Was it Moss and Merc when they
Yeah.
fought with dueled with
Yeah.
spears
Moss
of
the
fire?
giant and Merc the other giant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
With
dueled
Moss
with
the giant
spears
with
of
his lance
fire?
of fire.
This continuity, the nuclear war did happen.
Mm.
Yeah. Maybe
Well, it
that
could
was
also
the
just
breaking.
be. It could also just be. Well, I mean, there's a war, obviously. So yeah, you're right. And the thing, the lance of fire is things like ICBMs or intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Yeah.
For those that are not quite acronym officiated.
We're in the first stage right now. We're getting through it. Nuclear holocaust is what causes people to be able to then feel Sidene and Sidar.
No, maybe.
I
Yeah,
mean,
just look
Come
the
on,
radio-
nuclear holocaust.
Perfect, right? I know,
Radioactive
right? Like, I
mutation,
mean-
like Oh,
Sure,
man.
everyone's dead, but hey, we can channel now.
That's a pretty good payoff. I mean, like, obviously not everyone's dead, so maybe
Not
maybe you could do,
everyone.
you know?
and not
So-
everyone can channel.
So how many
Ha-
human lives
hashtag
would you
Thanos
trust
did
to
nothing
the
wrong.
channel?
Yeah,
Wait,
I mean, there's
oh.
also references to Mother Teresa, Ma Therese, the healer, mother of wondrous end. There's Anne Landers or Anla, the wise counselor. So there's plenty of this stuff, and for me, so when we talked about the topic initially, we talked about strange or mysterious artifacts or objects, and I'm going to make the very loose argument of these being like written knowledge and stories that therefore count as objects that are telling a very much word of mouth version of the history of the first age. Things like the Apollo landing, the development and use of ICBMs, the existence of figures like Mother Teresa and Anne Landers, that kind of stuff, which I think is really cool because it helps us tie back as a reading fandom that we, the world as we experience it, is part of this world as Robert Jordan intended. That the world we're living in now is supposed to be the first age.
Yes.
And there's, for us now, this impending sense of a either cataclysmic or incredibly epic moment that changes the entire world enough to create a new age. And I would kind of side with the idea that, it'd be something like a nuclear winter that causes, some kind of ultimate cataclysm. And now the mutants can now sense different types of power and
Yes.
use them. That being said, Vladimir, chill out. We can wait, at least 100 years after I'm long dead.
I'm not in a hurry,
Yeah, I would probably not be one of the people who made it out of it and therefore be able to touch Sidene. Therefore, take your time. Take your time.
I mean, it's not like
Nice.
Minecraft where you can punch the ground a couple times and hide yourself under the dirt and be safe all night.
No, it's not.
It's not.
But cool.
What are you
So
guys?
there is some input from Andrew already, which is great to kick us off as far as even more to think about, as far as not even just objects, but
Wasn't the
just
beginning,
concepts,
but it was like a
awesome.
beginning. Wasn't a great
Yeah,
one. But it was
exactly. But I would like to let's get one of our lovely guests. Since Micah, you went ahead and introduced the topic, let's go ahead and hear from either Alice or Jeff first. What are sort of some of your favorites of these mysterious ideas or artifacts?
Well, I have to say my absolute favorite artifact came really early on when Egwene visits the Panarch's palace and she finds the Mercedes-Benz hood ornament. That I had to go back and find it again. And I just wanted to read the description here because I actually drew it out for myself first and I looked at it for a little while and then I made the connection, but like it's well described. A silvery thing in another cabinet, like a three-pointed star inside a circle, was made of no substance she knew. It was softer than metal, scratched and gouged, yet even older than any of the ancient bones. From 10 paces, she could sense pride and vanity. So I guess Robert Jordan just really hated Mercedes-Benz drivers. But I just love that one. I love that they talk about plastic, which apparently isn't a thing in this age.
I love that.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's my
we used all the
absolute
oil in
favorite.
this age.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
All
Which is
of it.
also why all of the ancient bones are younger than the plastic,
Oh.
because we turned all of the even older ancient bones
Into oil.
into
Right, yeah.
plastic.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's
That was
a
my
good
favorite
one.
part of it, that he associated that this object, the Mercedes-Benz logo or hood ornament, was associated with hubris.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
If you ever, I love the quote, if you ever think that your job is useless, just think about the fact that somewhere in Germany, a BMW worker is putting blinkers on the cars. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
I love it.
I like
Oh, that's good.
the takeaway about Robert Jordan's perspective, like it from the Onla, the wise counselor thing. He feels that Ann Landers is as notable as John Glenn, and as notable as a nuclear war. And
Those
also
are different times.
yeah, and also he hates Mercedes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna
Seems
be
like a
fair,
pretty solid outlook.
the time frame that he's writing this and everything, like Mercedes-Benz and some of the BMWs and stuff, they're far more accessible to your average like middle class and even upper lower class kind of consumers, at least in like the US.
Right.
For whatever reason they are. But when Robert Jordan is writing, conceptualizing this stuff and thinking about things that he grew up with, learning, Mercedes-Benz, it was up there. It didn't matter what class you were. You couldn't get any Mercedes-Benz if you weren't doing very well in like the
Yes.
middle to upper middle class
Yeah.
or the high class.
Yeah, it used to be a
So-
status symbol. Although it could just as easily been like a Toyota logo, and then she senses compactness and economy.
Right.
I mean, I think it's so cool that
Frugality and
you have this guy-
dependability.
you have this guy that served in the military and everything, was making enlisted pay in the military, and he's just like, I come back from the war. These people in their Mercedes Benz, they're so prideful and arrogant. I can't stand it. I'm gonna include it in the book.
Yeah.
Well, something that's curious to me is it does, I think the inclusion of Ann Landers and Mother Teresa kind of dates the time in which the book was written. Because I mean that like late 80s, early 90s, that's when Ann Landers and Mother Teresa were much more like, I think, commonly talked about and commonly known than they are now. So I wonder who it would be nowadays. Who would be the cultural icons who would transcend time? Would it be like
we know who
Laga,
right
the
now.
wise singer,
That's a great question.
Queen
Well,
Queen
For the
Bee?
comment.
I
Here's a great
can
question for the comment
absolutely
section.
see
that is.
the symbol in the case today being a three-pointed star in the shape of a T. That's just
That's
a
great.
Tesla hood ornament
Yeah,
instead of a Mercedes.
Oh.
But they're
Because
still
again,
very
that-
accessible. I sound like I'm
I-
advertising for
Oh, I
Elon
feel
Musk.
like-
here.
Yeah,
But
it's not a
I actually
criticism
feel
at
that
all.
They're
like
really- they're
Tesla
more
is
economical than you
about
think, it really
as
is.
inaccessible to a Mercedes as a Mercedes was.
It'd be like a Ferrari
in
or
the
something, right?
80s. Yeah. Well, okay. That is a Bugatti hood ornament.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
There you
that would
go.
be kind of hard to describe
Gross.
that in generic terms.
really
if people
would.
I was trying
recognize
to, I was trying to think like what has a really iconic hood ornament too, though, because that's the other piece. Because the Tesla's a good one because that T is something.
Yeah.
So there's the problem. Like
Easily
people keep
described.
waking up in new Bugattis. So, or at least that's what the song says.
You know, the other thing that we're overlooking, we may be overcomplicating this. That might have just been the easiest one to describe.
That's a good point. He's like looking at a list of hood ornaments. It's like, oh, I don't know.
He was actually gonna do BMW, but he decided against it because it was harder to.
Exactly.
It's too hard. Yeah.
So there's
Or
a good
Cadillac.
question for the listeners in the comment section on Twitter, wherever you find it, wherever you want to do it. If assume that Robert Jordan is writing this series now, and instead of Glenn and Landers, there were two other very influential, very popular cultural icons or influential figures, and Mother Teresa, that he chose from what is more modern and current for us. Who would those three be? I innately feel like I'm going to hell for not automatically including Mother Teresa.
You're fine.
You're good.
Oh, that's fine. I'll be in good company. Well, not technically good,
I think that's great. I think that's a good point. And especially where we've done a lot of like conversation about the time frame that this book has been written and how some of it ages really, really well. Some of it was ahead of its time. And for it being a 14-book series, 15-book series, there's not a whole lot that you look at and you go, well, that's bullshit. Like, it is actually held up pretty well to the test of time the last 20 years, which can't be said of most pop culture, sci-fi, fantasy references. And I think that's
comparatively.
I think that's comparatively. I think that's important to note.
Yeah.
One of those careful liking things. Go ahead, Mike.
I think it helps that he understates stuff so that even if it's not so central or crucial that if it goes over your head or under your head, however you want to say it, then it takes you out of the story. So like I think that helps a lot, right? There are books that the pop culture references are kind of the point, and I think that will
Ready Player
kind of
One.
damage. I wasn't going to say the name, but yeah, that's a great example, right? Like as time goes on, it will even further lose relevance as the people who even know what they're talking about,
Right.
die off.
But he did a really good job
I think that's how. No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say I agree with you. I think he did a really great job of selecting certain items and or events that will always have relevance. Even if nobody listens or reads Ann Landers anymore, we all know who she is. And even though my kids will probably never know who Ann Landers is, all it's going to be is a quick Google search. Why the hell is everybody referencing Ann Landers? Oh,
Because they should.
yeah.
Well, and I will also throw out there also just a reminder that he doesn't say Ann Landers in the book.
No,
He uses different names. He uses different references as sort of in the world as something that might have changed in the many years that,
Exactly.
between when it
Exactly.
actually happened versus when it's now being mentioned, different things like that. And so I probably won't be, but like, I'd love to be here in 75 years listening to podcasts about the Wheel of Time and seeing if maybe there's another Anne that they just decide is the reference
that would be great.
to the book, because of course it is, because that one's the one that's
Wheel of
relevant now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, because time is what? Time
I
is
just-
Cyclical.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like a circle.
Wait, what?
Not triangle. Triangle
Time
have
is a
ends.
box.
It's like a circle. I
I
can never
think-
get over that reference. All right.
I
So
think-
keeping in with the objects and artifacts,
yours.
Jeff, what is one
Okay.
that maybe came to mind that you would consider as a mysterious or strange artifact or object?
Well,
And don't say Andrew.
There are two objects that spring
You're
to
not
mind.
an object, Andrew. Stop objectifying yourself. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, that's our job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not even the object of this sentence. Anyway.
Oh.
Anyway, the two things that come to mind are one, Matt's hat, right? Because no one else wears a hat like that anywhere, right? He got it from that
Ever.
one dark friend.
Ever.
Yeah, like, and where was that dark friend from? Like the place where they wear hats like that? We don't know where that is. But and Matt saw that,
know
he's
where
like,
we've been,
that hat
right?
goes on my head, and he's been wearing it ever since. Like who wears what broad-brimmed hats in this world? So I find that mysterious, you know, like there's probably some Robert Jordan-y explanation where, you know, the pattern has created it such that this great nation rose in the mountains, and it created a name destroyed,
So-
betrayed by a dark
The
source.
nation with no name
So-
and wide brimmed
So
hats.
really quick,
Yeah.
I do want to go ahead and throw in here two things about that. Number one, Robert Jordan wears that hat regularly. in
That's what I was
interviews
about to say.
and Photos. It's his hat. It's totally Robert Jordan.
Yeah, it is.
So then it could actually literally be Robert Jordan's hat, like surviving
Right?
throughout all of history.
That's
Right.
I'm gonna say that's it. That is canon. That's it right there.
And number two, I actually
Would you
just,
call that head cannon?
Ah!
Or
I like what
hat
you did there.
cannon.
No, hers was
Josh,
better.
you ruined it. Come on.
Hers was way
Sorry.
better. And the second thing I want to say is one of my favorite things about that hat is that Matt gets it from a dark friend before he knows that it's a dark friend. He never technically finds out that hat is from a dark friend. He doesn't
that's true.
know. But
Yeah,
you know
that's
who
good point.
does? Rand. Rand knows full well that hat was given to Matt by a dark friend. And guess who never tells his friend?
Never
that
says a
he
damn
didn't wear
word.
that hat.
You know
That's
what?
like-
Because
That's-
it was given to him.
that is-
That's the
that is-
best bro move ever, right?
Yeah,
He's like, he really
he's a
likes
bro.
that hat.
It does. I'm not going to ruin it for him. That's fair.
I don't want to
That's
ruin
totally-
that hat for him. Like, I know where that came from. I don't know what that dark friend did to that hat, but Matt doesn't want to know.
So
Yeah,
Rand,
no, I don't
Rand
wanna
can be
know.
a bro every once in
I
a
get,
while.
yeah, no, fair. But sorry, Jeff, you had a second one, and I would
Oh
love
yeah,
to hear.
it was. I think I'm not 100% sure this is what it is, but it's called the Tower of Genji. I think that's, if I'm correct, this is the thing. Like originally, we originally saw it when Matt
Dolman.
and Rand were like, yeah, we're on Bail Dolman's boat, and they were like sailing down the river, and they're like, "What's that thing?" And Bail Dolman's like, "Oh, that's that tower that if you go within a mile of it, you die." Anyway, back to sailing, you know. And
All right, Sauron.
yeah, it was. I just think that thing is awesome, and I think like Slayer goes into it or something. I don't know. We're only in Crossroads of Twilight. Who knows if they?
I was about to say this one you got to be careful with because there are spoilers pertaining to the Tower of Genji.
Oh, okay.
Also, I shouldn't tell them that Batman emerges and saves the
Don't,
world.
dude.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
shit. Sorry.
as long as we
took a
don't find out who
weird turn.
Batman is in real
It makes
life.
you feel better. It's Adam West Batman, not
Oh.
George Clooney Batman. So it's
Doesn't make me
funny.
feel better.
I'm fine with it. Yeah.
So he comes out and he's like,
Michael Keaton was the
Matt,
best Batman.
We need to go to the towers of.
That's a
Genji."
hot take, Josh. We're gonna have to save that for a completely different genre of podcast.
No, Robert Pattinson is the best Batman. I'm buying on that meme early.
All right, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and kick Jeff from the call.
Oh,
At least
man,
he didn't
his
say Batfleck was the best.
Batfleck is the best.
No, he isn't. Daniel, you're fired. That's not
So
even
it's
a
a
funny
mysterious
joke.
No,
object
it's
they
actually
find.
really sad. Ben Affleck is the best Batman in the worst Batman movie.
go
I'm
ahead,
being
Alice.
serious right now.
I was just going to make a joke about chest armor with nipples on it to
Yes.
determine which Batman it is.
Everybody needs an anatomically correct batsuit, which is the best thing about George Clooney's Batman and the Batman and Robin movie.
The nipples.
Not the
Nipples.
best.
The nipples.
Yeah.
One of
the
the
best
best.
thing.
The best is Arnold
Nipple,
Schwarzenegger.
nipple, 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 nipple,
It's
nipple,
the
nipple,
only
nipple.
good thing.
That's
Actually,
an
no, that's not
iconic
true.
quote right there. There's just
At
something I
this
love
point-
about an anatomically correct batsuit.
No, I have to throw out there the actual best part about that, not when you're watching the movie in theaters, but now that we can all appreciate it many years after, is Arnold Schwarzenegger's one-liners, because they're so
Oh, yeah.
terrible. They're
Nice to meet you.
see. Yes.
what killed the dinosaurs?
Chill
The
out.
Ice Age.
It's so
Take two
good.
of
It's so
these
bad.
and call me in the morning.
For Schwarzenegger, if you're listening, check out our Patreon.
Yes.
Arnie's a big listener to the Black Tower, just so you guys know.
Also, I do want to
Yeah, that's
throw out
good.
there, like, legitimately, Arnold Schwarzenegger, that was an amazing speech that you made at the end of last week. We need more of those. Thank you very much for that.
We also
Yeah,
need to
I
borrow
like
your
it.
tank.
I like
Unrelated
the
not only
reasons.
speech.
come
Like
on
the
over
sword is a
and-
good sword.
Right? That was the best addition for that particular speech.
I think my favorite mysterious artifact is, and it's kind of cliche, but I'm going all the way back to book 1, Tam's sword. I love it. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I love that this dude, this tobacco farmer, this sheep farmer in the backwoods of nowhere, not only has a heron mark sword, but has a power wrought heron mark sword. And I know they kind of gloss over it as you progress through the story. I know they kind of go, oh yes, they're extremely rare.
Well,
Not,
Yeah,
not
Land
for
makes a big
super
deal
low.
when he figures out what
but,
it is.
but
They only
but
gloss over
Lon-
for about 3 books, and then you don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it anymore.
No, then they completely gloss over it for the rest of it because it's just gone.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
Once he stabs Balsamon in the face
Yeah,
with
like-
it, it just
like-
melts.
Tam let his son take his sword out for a spin, and he ruined it.
that's what kids do. They wreck your
He's like,
nice
yeah.
stuff.
Hey, I just want to
You
say,
can't get
if
those anymore.
If Tam ever wants a, like, literally power wrought fire sword, I'm pretty sure his son will just make one for him.
That's
I
true.
think we're good.
Well,
Yeah.
but so
I
the
mean-
thing is like they pull it out of nowhere, and Rand is like, "Whoa, Dad, you have a sword? I didn't know you had a sword." And he's like, "Your mother told me I should sell this thing. Let's hope she was right." And he's so nonchalant about the fact that he has literally a 1 in a million sword, like just hanging on his hip.
Yeah, when she says you should sell that thing, I think what she means is you should sell that thing and buy a kingdom, because that's probably
right.
like
Right?
Yeah.
We can buy like
What are we
4
doing
2 rivers
living in
of
the
this.
2 rivers?
That's like
Yeah,
8
right.
rivers. We could buy like 8 rivers.
yeah, we
No,
have
I
way
just-
more rivers than we have right now.
Right. I also love how I'm like 99% sure that Cariel Thor knew about Tam's history, and there is
Oh, yeah.
no possible way that she actually told him to sell the sword. He was 100% like, I should make up a reason that this sword isn't a big deal. Yeah, your mom totally told me to sell it. I
So
really
humble,
hope she was right.
right?
Like, yeah, no.
My read on that
Make
is
your
that
mom the bad guy now that she's dead.
my read on that is that,
Like-
that she didn't know about the sword, right?
Oh.
Like he was
Ooh.
hiding it like with his
Possible.
whiskey and porn in like
Uh,
a special drawer.
Hey, apple brandy and porn.
The real
Apple brandy
artifacts from the
porn.
Age of Legends. Tam's
The
porn
sword has
collection.
been under my mattress. That's why you didn't know it was there.
I just actually
but-
like want to think about the number of times that, because we all know, even if you don't have your own kids, you know that there is nothing safe in your house. There is nothing
Absolutely.
safe in your house. There is no place that you can hide things that your kids won't find. But they are often usually so young when they do actually stumble on things that they don't really remember them when they grow up. So like, how many times did Rand like find that sword when he was a wee
And
baby
not put anything.
and just
I like that.
never think about it again until like he's way older? And then his dad pulls out this sword and he just doesn't even remember being 2
Oh.
and being like, I found this sword, Dad. And Tam's like, oh, you're adorable. Let me just put that
Yeah.
back in a different hiding space.
I like in Armageddon when they're in space on the asteroid, the dude pulls out a gun, "Ah!" And the guy's just like, "You brought a gun to space? What are you doing with a gun in space?" I can just see Rand doing that. "You got a sword? What are you doing with a sword?"
Okay, alternate theory. He knew it was there, but he was so distracted by Tam's porn collection. You know, that really good, that
Right.
stout 2 Rivers porn, that he totally ignored the sword.
Yeah, he was working his way through the porn collection. He hadn't got to-
So many
That
portraits.
is
That's got to be like the Amish version of Penthouse, where it's just like ankles and shoulders.
right, yeah.
Look at that stout Two Rivers wool that she's wearing, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Those are some
Got the
fun
braid
short
over her shoulder.
ankles.
Are you
arms
kidding
folded
me?
beneath
The
her.
hottest,
just ran like drawing pictures of Egwene over the heads in the magazine.
no, the hottest Two Rivers porn is the ones
Jeez.
that don't have as stout of dresses on. They still are fully clothed. It's just
Yeah.
mildly threadbare.
Yes, we semi-broke, Josh.
That wool is not so stout. Yeah, honey. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Like,
If you look really
That's why
closely, she's
Tam
not
has the
wearing
sword.
this.
Somebody in a cotton dress is right out. Just that's way
Whoa.
Oh,
That's why Tam kept the sword to cut through the stout Two Rivers wool in emergency situations.
It's the only way.
Oh man. All right.
That's how Kari found out about it. Like, what kind of foreplay is this? Oh, I learned this somewhere else.
I just want to point out
Which
too,
then sparked a 6-hour argument about where he learned it. So.
in our Patreon chat, which is hilarious. There's someone, Snakes and Foxes, has posted that conversation. What's in the box, honey? Nothing. Oh, well, why don't you sell it? No, he doesn't want to sell it. It's mine.
What's in the box?
funniest part?
What's in the box?
The funniest part, and before I say
Oh.
this,
Whew.
Alice, Micah, and Jeff, you know about Tam's backstory, like the history behind it. Do you know?
That's
Yeah, I
before-
think we do.
Not
Nope.
all of
Not
it.
making the joke. I got one
They
head
don't-
shake.
they don't
so,
know about all of it.
Never mind. That
Yeah, we
They
don't
know
know
it.
at all.
They
That
know
joke
enough
will,
to get themselves
remain
in
unhidden.
trouble by telling you that they think they know it, but they don't know what
Yeah.
you're about to say.
Yeah, probably
you think
not.
you know?
all I can say
You have no
is
idea.
it is very common, even in our own world, for people of Tam's historical background to stash
Oh,
porn.
okay, that makes sense.
I'm not going to say anymore.
I can confirm that because that's how I got my first
you calling
magazine,
Tam
because
a
my
sheep
grandfather.
Whoa!
No,
No,
No.
here, in this podcast we call them
Whoa.
Emmons Fielders.
No,
Terrence Ferry. Terrence Ferry.
No, Jeff. They are.
you can't
That's
do
what
that.
that's what the Devon
Coplins.
ride is.
They're called coplins.
The Coplins and the Congers.
No,
They like
the
to fuck the
Congers
sheep.
aren't sheep fuckers. No, the Congers aren't sheep fuckers.
They're not
They found
just the
something
Coplins.
else. The Coplins are the sheep fuckers. The
Mm,
Congers found
okay.
something else. We're not
okay.
allowed to talk about it on this particular episode.
What about those Terran
Cougars?
Fairy folks?
Oh, those guys are just
we don't.
You can't trust the
No,
Terran Fairy
no,
man.
yeah.
nasty.
Absolutely not.
They're
nasty.
they're too dumb to find the sheep to fuck. That's the thing about the Terran Fairy people.
Right, yeah.
They wish they could fuck a sheep.
They wish they could.
Oh God, Daniel, save
Save
us!
us.
Mysterious object or artifact.
All right.
Ugh.
So I think that of all of the ones in the books, my favorite mysterious object that they don't actually really go into how it was made or what was done on it or anything like that. You only see the after effects of it and the actual thing that was done, but they never talk about how it happened. Is the hedgehog that traps Fail in Tel'aran'rhian.
Ooh.
Yeah. The dream trap,
Because
right?
again, yeah, the dream trap. It's literally, according to the books, as far as what we do know, it is a little hedgehog figurine with some kind of power created trap in it that sends you to the world of dreams and you never come back unless your wolf brother boyfriend comes and saves you. That's the
I just
only
thought
way
of the
to
worst
do that.
joke to make about that, and I'm not going to say it.
But that's it. That's all you get. It doesn't tell you how it was made. It doesn't actually tell you like, oh, is it just flows of spirit? Is it, like whatever? Who actually made it? Because they say like, oh, it was probably Black Sisters for Moraine. But like, there's so much about this that they never look into in the books. And I'm like, what? Can we take a second and talk about? Can we talk about what just happened? Like, it's not fair. And that one's probably one of my
I
favorites.
imagine that Moraine knew what that was and probably how to deal with it. But when she
Maybe.
when she saw that it was Fail that had picked it up, she was like, "Oh, phew, no problem." Oh, one problem with another right
I
there.
see this as an absolute win.
See, I Jeff, this is how I knew I liked your podcast. I agree wholeheartedly. I really wish that Perrin had just failed at getting Fail out of the world of dreams, because God, their relationship is horrendous. So anyway,
I gotta be honest. I am the Fail defender on our podcast.
Are
the
you?
three of us.
I was just
Of the
pandering.
three of us.
Dang.
He's just
Oh, dang.
he's contrary.
I like
Yeah.
Fail. I think she has
Next.
many fine qualities.
I still don't believe you.
Next thing I know, you're going to say that you believe that Min is a lamp.
Next, you're
Yeah.
gonna say that Gawain did nothing wrong, and then we'll have to really kick you from the go.
Wait. Duck sauce boy?
Duck sauce boy, yeah.
He tastes delicious.
Mr. I don't communicate with anyone ever for any reason whatsoever.
Ever.
No.
All right, who hasn't gone yet?
Definitely killed my mom, dude. What are you
Micah.
talking about?
Yeah. So I have a few things.
Give us your things.
Okay,
Give us.
so
I'm still
I'm trying to
listening,
think of
but
the
I
right
don't-
order to do this because they're like different. Okay, so I'll start with a quick one because it's like there's not a lot to say about it, but I've always found it kind of fun. It's the they describe it as like a giant bowl with a metal spire in the middle, and anytime someone comes within a mile of it, they immediately die. And I think that's a Tesla coil sort of thing, right?
Yeah. Oh God, I was reading about it because it's in like a desert, the Black Hills.
Yeah. So
Because that's the thing. It sounds like it looks like a satellite dish, which is bad for all the 5G conspiracy theorists.
No.
Yeah, my-
Good for them, bad for us.
You
Yeah,
don't
I think
understand. That's just Area 51. It's not the satellite that kills you. It's the armed guards that kill you. and hide
The
your
people that
body
are still
to make
stationed
sure.
at Area 51.
There's some poor Air Force Security Forces member that is, they
that's
survived
right.
ages and is sitting there with an M24.
there's still
A1C.
people Naruto running
There
at my
is-
place. Come on,
There
man.
is one family of dedicated Air Forcemen who have been reproducing and protecting Area 51 for ages.
Oh,
They don't even know what it
Black
is.
Hills is
They're just
Nevada.
like,
They don't
it's a
even know what it is.
sniper. That's why if you come close so you die, there's a sniper up at
Yeah.
the post.
Yeah.
Well, and then
There's a
there's somebody
loud
that
crack
collects
of
the body.
thunder, and then you drop dead.
yeah. So that's like an
man.
object that doesn't get a lot of screen time or whatever.
You're
but
right.
I've always kind of find it kind
I
of
like
fun.
that.
It's like Tesla, Tesla coil, whatever. That's kind of cool. Another one that I think is more in the vein of what Andrew was talking about. It's not an object exactly, but something I like thinking of the parallels is something I'm sure you guys have thought about or talked about is like the whole like Arthurian legend layer of the Wheel of Time story. So obviously a lot of the character names are referential to characters from Arthurian legend. So I like to think about like given that this is like a cyclical world where things happen again, it's like where they are, this is like the events that become the legends. So it's like Tom Maryland, for example, like he's this advisor to Randall Thor, and like little things happen where I'm trying to think. There was some one point where he throws fire or something like that, and it's like it's obviously not magic, it's something he's doing, but it's like, oh, this is like something they talk about later, and then it becomes the legend of like about Merlin the wizard, even though he's just like this, he's a gleeman,
Yep.
And like, yeah, so we've got Galad, we've got Gawain, we've got Egwene, all of these Morgaze, all of these characters are all kind of like Arthurian stuff. So it's just like seeing how those things kind of feed into each other. I love it,
Yeah. I agree.
That's perfect. I like that as well.
Well, and we all know that legend becomes myth, and even
Exactly,
myth is
right.
forgotten by the time the third age happens. And so when
that's a good line.
Morgaze gets named and she's running around doing stuff, like,
Hey, you should
come
be
on,
an author, Daniel.
shut up.
It's almost like my mom. They say the age that gave it birth. By the time it comes around again, every time I go back home, my mom's forgotten who I am. So I'm kidding. Who are you, strange man?
I like. There's a lot of Arthurian legend, and Robert Jordan has been very clear on this. He pulls from the legends of our day as well as current events, as well as, you know, predictions for the future, et cetera, et cetera. And he does this
Yeah.
to make, as we were talking about at the beginning of this, is a relatable story that we can identify bits of our own history and our own pieces of literature. But he's also been very clear on this, that it is not, there's some Arthurian legend. Boop. He's more like legend, like Salt Bay. You know, he'll be like,
Yeah.
okay, a little bit of Arthur, a little bit of Arabian Nights, a little bit of, you know,
Here's some Norse mythology.
yeah, a little bit of
Yeah.
Norse mythology, a little bit of samurai
Matt, right?
mythology,
Well, and I also
All of
love
that
the
and Perrin.
Oh, I'm gonna have to
Some
raffle
Perrin
you
as well.
because it's, raffle you there, Micah, because it's more than.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah.
I
No,
can't.
I,
can't go
I
deeper
also
onto
love
that.
how it's not even just like legend and whatnot as well. I mean, some
Alice, you just look super concerned. As soon as I said it's more, it was just like, don't you fucking dare.
Don't
I
you
almost said it too,
No,
though. I almost
no.
said it.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
I just
I
like
was-
the
I'll
idea
tell you,
was
if you
having
guys
deep
spoil this for
thoughts.
Alice, you guys are gonna have a problem.
Deep
Oh.
thoughts, Alex.
Deep thoughts are always good.
I didn't
Deep
say it.
thoughts.
I didn't say it. I stopped
No, I
myself.
also
I was
love
like,
how,
wait,
like,
no.
In the
Even
world
where we are,
he
though, I mean, like,
is-
yeah.
yeah, because the Andorrans are like, again, it's not that Andor is Britain. It's not that Carrion is France. It's not that, you know, Shan
Right.
Chan is some weird mix of Texas and China. It's not like, it's like literally like, okay, cool. Well, here's Andor, and some of them use longbows, and they speak with, you know, I imagine them as speaking with a British accent. And
All I can
here's
hear in
the
my head now
Carrion,
is
and
"Ni hao,
they're-
partner."
Ni hao, partner. Actually, that'd be a good,
May
like
she
a
live
firefly.
Yeah.
Oh
That'd be
my
a good
god, that would
Firefly.
be Firefly. Chingas in Nyon.
So yeah, for me, it's very much like I definitely think of it as like the idea that this, like, the events that are happening now are forgotten and then remembered, and then like
Yes.
we ended up in this like kind of blend of and I love that. I think it's like a lot of fun. So I like the way he did it, and it's a good blend of all these different mythos and so on, that you could see how it could be both. It could be like our legends are, you know, based on like a misinterpretation of like a retelling of like what happened, you know, but also like it goes back around because they have myths and legends about us, you know, so it's like, it's kind of a fun. I love that. So that's
Take all the myths and throw them in a blender. Use them in all your pains.
That's right. So that's the like the not object that I wanted to talk about. The last one I have is one that is just the gates. Sorry, there's lots of gates in this.
Wait, which
portals.
Elaine Beth?
He's talking about the Stargate.
I
He's
mean-
definitely talking about Stargate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
yeah. Well, the portals that lead to the other dimensions.
Oh, the portal
yes.
stones.
Oh, the portal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, not the portal stones.
No, you're talking about the Tirangrial.
The Waygate.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Tirangrial.
oh, yes.
The one that
the three.
the one
The
that-
Elfin and the
The redstone
the fox-
doorways.
Yeah, the redstone. Thank you. Yeah.
The
I
twisted
love those
doorways.
things.
Yeah.
The twisted
redstone
redstone
twisted.
doorways.
The twisted.
those are
doorways.
scary. Those are terrifying.
Yeah, right. And
Dude, I
his-
fucking love this. Are you kidding me?
Hey you,
The
hey you,
descriptions.
Elfin's little sister.
like when they go into those other worlds, the way he describes them are like it's sinister, right? Like it's like,
Yeah.
oh, there's no corners, or like it's just, it's very like, it's like eldritch horror almost. It's just inserted into these fantasy novels in like a really natural sort of way, but also the characters when they're there are like, this is fucking weird, you know?
Dude, I
love
fucking love Matt's description when he goes to see the Eelfin, because it's a little bit different than when he went to go see the Islefin. And when he goes in there, he's like walking along with his guide. When he,
Wait, let's
No,
take it.
this is in the Stone of Tears.
this is in.
I'm
this
asking-
is in
I'm asking to
4.
break
this
real
is,
quick.
This is in 4.
Oh,
This
That's
is
gonna
in 4.
break real quick because we have a Discord issue. Jeff, can you say something?
Oh, check. 1, 2, 3, check.
Yep, that works. Micah,
test.
You're not
test.
coming-
Oh,
you're not coming
Micah's-
through on Discord.
Micah's not.
No.
coming.
Alice, can you say
Oh.
something?
Testing.
Yep, you're coming through. So Micah's not coming through on Discord.
Micah, I've found that if you just pop out and rejoin real quick, sometimes that does the trick.
Okay.
I
so
don't
just,
know
like,
why.
disconnect,
Wait,
reconnect?
you're
we
no,
can hear
Oh
you.
wait, now
I
you're
can
coming
see-
through.
Oh, okay. Hold
It
on,
could
hold
be
on.
just be like a weird internet
What
connection.
about
latency thing.
now? Test, test, test.
Nope.
Nope.
When I minimize the window, test, test,
What?
test.
Yep.
No,
can
you're
you-
not.
What?
Apparently, when I minimize the window, it makes me not talk there. Fun.
We'll stop
Oh,
doing
that's
that.
weird.
That might be a security issue.
Well, if it makes you
That
feel
is-
better, every time that they can hear you, Snakes and Foxes says yay. So
Yeah, good.
Yay.
But
That's
yeah, no,
good.
Awesome.
in book 4, Matt goes through the Redstone doorway in Ruidian,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and he's walking with his guide to go see the eelfin. And he keeps on talking about, like, he's walking through these corridors that, like, there's nothing here, and then he walks past these giant windows and he's like, oh, that's a really cool looking city. And then he keeps walking, and then he like goes into another room, and then he walks into another corridor, and there's like these big windows, and he's like, cool, more of that. Oh, this is a completely different city. Like, that's so intensely weird, and I love it.
Yeah.
But it's also like so head trippy, because you're just like, what is happening? What are you talking about? There's just another city there. Or it's like,
Yeah.
oh, now I'm seeing the view from across the city. And you're like, what? No. What are you talking
It's a whole sequence of events I cannot wait
Ah,
to see in the TV
right?
show.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
gonna be
It's
I
gonna be
agree.
so
it's,
good.
it's one of my favorite scenes because it's one of those classic Matt scenes where he like
It is.
he goes and they're like, we'll give you 3 wishes, and he's like, well, I wish you would kiss my ass. Completely
Like,
utterly unprepared,
granted.
right?
Done.
Yeah.
And then they're like, 2 more.
it's almost like
Yeah.
he tries to be the
Okay.
annoying kid that is always like, so what are you doing here?
Right.
Why? Well, because we want to know. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, just tell us.
Yeah.
Why? Get
Well,
the fuck
and
out.
one
Right.
of my other
I know, right?
absolute favorite parts about the Redstone doorways is we never, and I hope I'm not spoiling this, but we never see anybody else's trip through the Redstone doorway. We don't. We
Right.
on occasion hear tiny little bits and pieces of
That's
what
not so much
happened.
spoiler as it is
We don't
crushed dreams
Bear-
right there. So
Bear Lane
Good.
talks
Good.
about
Well-
talks about the rulers in her country going through.
Yeah, well, and
Almost
Maureen
like a rite of
mentions
passage kind of a
things
thing.
from
Oh, I didn't
her
know that.
trip before she is gone. And Rand mentions things from his trip to go see the Isle-Fin as well, but we never see Moraine or Rand go through them. That's done.
That's actually a really good
Matt.
point.
We literally only ever see from Matt's perspective the other side of the Redstone doorways.
So
Because, as I
those
said-
they actually might be pretty nice and accommodating, except Matt is such a douchebag.
he just shows up with too much Chad
well,
energy, and they're just like, get the fuck out of here. You think you're an
mean,
alpha male, but you're really a
dude.
beta.
We waited 1,000 years for this, and we get you. Come on.
Oh man.
They
I
have
mean, we
died
find him
every day
entertaining, but imagine if you
waiting-
have to like get some wishes from him, you know?
Yeah,
They have
right.
died every day waiting for him, but all they're left with is him.
some good savor. They're looking for some
Yeah.
good savor.
Yeah.
Yeah, even like
And Matt's
it's-
just
I'm
not
trying to
having
remember.
it.
He goes in there and they're like, "Oh, have you no music or iron?" And he's like, "I don't think so. I mean, it's fine." He's just like his interactions with them are so. I mean,
No, it's
very Matt,
absolutely
right?
true.
He's a
I
country
love that.
bumpkin. You never challenge a country bumpkin to shit about music. I mean, Charlie Daniels
Right.
literally told us you
He
don't
wrote a
challenge the
song
country
about
bumpkin
this.
about music because
That's
the
true.
devil loses to Johnny.
So, question about that, right? Like, who's the judge of that competition?
The devil is. He admits
devil.
defeat. Johnny
He
is
does.
so good. He's like, I lost. You can have
so,
this
no.
golden fiddle.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that there was sort of the intent that there would be an impartial judge, but he doesn't even get a chance to say anything because the devil's immediately like, "You win. I'm done. We don't even need to go to
Plot
the judges'
twist.
scorecards.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm tapping out right now."
really, the
It's
devil
over.
was just
Have
trying to
this
give
fiddle.
this guy a cursed golden fiddle.
That's
Right.
what I'm
Plot
thinking,
twist.
right? Like
Johnny
yeah.
was having some tough times at the farm and could really use some extra gold, and so the devil lost on purpose just to help him out.
To help him out. Because
To
we
help
all
him
know
out.
the devil is known for being helpful.
Maybe
with
he
no
was
strings
misjudged.
attached.
We've
Maybe
all
he
seen
does
Ghost Rider.
okay
He's super
with
helpful.
money.
Hey, I've seen Lucifer. There's always a string attached. Now, typically, it's actually a pretty nice string that you don't mind him pulling. But at the same time, there's still a string attached.
So on our topic of mysterious or strange artifacts and stuff, from what you have read so far up through the first 12 or the first 12 chapters of Crossroads of Twilight, what do you think of, because obviously you just hit a very big point in the story for Choden Call.
Yeah.
So what do you
Right.
think of the Choden Call versus I'm going to say pick any other style of Angreal, Terangreal, Saw-Angreal that you may have seen?
I think that
It's hard for me to
the Choden
believe
Call
that
were
no one
designed-
has used
oh.
them.
Well, I up until that point, right?
Yeah, like they're all like, no one used them. Like, it's too scary because they're way too powerful and awesome. They're the most amazing thing ever. You wouldn't want that. And like
We
nobody coming
even
along
use
is like, I think
nukes.
I would like to blow up the
Well, the
planet.
implication there is that they're hidden, right? From where Rand and Asmodee and Lanfear kind of discover the access keys, right? Is it that it requires an access key, and the access keys are hidden in a place that
But they said
most
that
people don't go.
even in the Age of Legends, they were never used because they were just too cool.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't one of
I
the
agree with
access
you,
keys
Jeff.
in the museum in Tenchiko?
No. Both of them are in Ruidian.
Are you
Both
sure?
of them are in Ruidian.
Well,
Okay,
There's more than one remote, I think, for one of them.
yes.
that's what I thought. It's like, yeah,
Okay.
one
There
of
were
them is actually in
several
Tenchiko.
copies of the keys made, but there's only like one or two of each that survived or something.
Yeah, one of them is in the museum in Tenchiko. I don't
Sorry,
remember.
you're
what.
absolutely correct. They never use that one. That's the
Yeah,
important
that's true.
one.
And
They
I
use the
assume
two that are in Ruidian.
in the Age of Legends, if you have one of the keys, you can take it down to Home Depot and put it in that machine, and it'll make another one for you.
That's true. That is a
With
fact.
your chosen camo or color scheme. on
Magic
it.
Home Depot. Thank you very much. Not regular Home Depot.
I'm gonna get this one printed with the New England Patriots on it. Oh wait, no, Tom Brady left. Somebody
It's a
left.
dude with
Which-
no robe on, like holding up a crystal sphere, and he's got a tri-point hat on.
Jeff, did you just suggest that Elaine is a key machine?
That's why all the baths, she has to be well lubricated and clean to work effectively.
That's a good point.
Just saying, she's the one who can make the tarot.
On this night's episode of Wheel of Time Unsolved Mysteries, we solve the mystery of Elaine's baths.
Right, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, she has
Alright.
an,
We also
an ancient
referred
and
to
powerful
Elaine
bloodline
as
of key machines.
Well lubricated.
Yeah, that happened.
I mean,
hurt me.
I'm pretty sure there's a couple people that can attest to that eventually. So
Stop yourself. We don't mind vulgarity, but please stop.
What's the most pointless artifact?
well,
Real
hold on. We
quick.
hadn't finished it because we didn't give Micah and Alice a
Oh.
chance
To do what?
to talk about
Oh,
like the Choden Call, like maybe in respect of the other Angreal type things we see.
So I theorize, and I'm sure other people have said this or written this or whatever, but I think that the Choden Call were built exactly for what they were used for. Like I had this idea that the Age of Legends had like foreknowledge of the like this because maybe because
The
the sixth
foretelling is
dimension
totally a
things-
thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that the Eye of the World and the Choden Call were both built exactly for what they were used for. Like they knew kind of that things were going to go a certain way, and that they were going to get used a certain way, and that was what they were built for. So like that's kind of my theory. When we got to the point when he used it, I talked about this a little bit. It's interesting that the way that Rand used it was something that no one from the Age of Legends, the Forsaken, even realized could be done, right? It's interesting that even in the Age of Legends, you couldn't have done what Rand did because Shadow Logoth didn't exist yet. So it was just like it was. I think it's just like kind of foretold that this is exactly the purpose that it was built for, and it wouldn't be
I
used
like
anywhere
that.
else.
I like that a lot.
Alice, take us
I
into
really-
your Wonderland, because I'm sure nobody's ever made that joke.
Clever.
No, wait, I don't understand. Wonderland? What?
Here, just drink this and it'll all go away.
Yeah, we got some wine. We got some wine for you, Andrew.
I
Hold
have
on.
the same problem. If I drink too much, I get too. Continue. Sorry.
I really don't have anything else to add, I think Micah really said it for me, that there's these specific purposes that we don't necessarily know about. I don't have anything to add on to that one.
There's
I
a
just
grand
love-
design that we didn't understand at the time of the design.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
The
I bet
wheel
it was one of
weaves,
those-
brah.
I have to
Yeah, it's a
admit,
pattern,
I
man.
love the idea.
Get your
of
Will We Use
that.
Brawl merch at blacktowerpod.com.
It also makes me a little bit sad that, like, if that's true, which I'm not saying it's not, I'm just saying that, like, supposing that that is true, it really does take a little bit of, like, Nynaeve and Rand's awesomeness out of it. If it's just like, no, they didn't actually, like, really figure it out. Like, they figured it out, but they just put the puzzle together.
They didn't do
not
anything. They
being
just
able
turned
to
on the
see
machine.
box, rather than, like, actually having to make the puzzle, if that makes sense.
You just
actually
equated the
like it.
cleansing of the taint on Sidene to them turning it off and back on again.
I think
I like
I mean,
it though. I like it though
I think it's
because
more like babies who like pick up guns and accidentally use them. You know,
That shit got
like
serious
having-
real
that
quick.
just-
darker
Wow.
metaphor,
That just
but
takes, that just
on
takes
point.
Rand and Nynaeve's intelligence
But-
out of it.
They
But
are,
instead
but
of it
they're
being
back
a
in the
tragic-
dark ages, basically.
Instead
I
of it
do
being
like-
tragic, the babies take out a violent, set on murdering home intruder.
I
no, yeah.
like
But the
that
babies would have
it
been.
is-
This is the Kevin McAllister,
Yes.
like, yeah, that's what's going on.
I like that in this particular instance, Robert Jordan turns convention on its head, because what's one of the biggest movie tropes in the world? And that is, I am a scientist with totally, noble ambitions, and I have invented this AI or this new source of energy or this blah, blah, blah. And what immediately happens in every single movie or television show? Some
Terminator.
colonel with a hard on for violence is like, give it to me, I'm gonna kill someone with it. And it's one of the worst tropes ever. I hate it, but it exists. So Robert Jordan kind of turns it on its
I
head
don't-
a little bit, and I love it
I'm gonna
because this
throw out
one
there
was
a real-
invented as the nuclear deterrent, and then Rand and Nynaeve used it in the exact opposite way to save the world instead of destroy it. And I like that.
Josh, I
That's
do
cool
want to
idea.
throw out there, you're absolutely right that in, like, media, that is a huge trope. But I just want to throw out there, have you ever, like, studied human history? Because, like, that's just a trope for, like, actual events through the entirety humans have been around. That's not just a media trope. That's like a human thing where it's like, I have made this thing that blows up. We can make cars run on it. And they're like,
GPS was
then somebody's
created
like,
for a military
"Hey."
application and then later translated over for civilian use.
And now Google keeps track unless you turn it off of every place you've ever been.
yeah,
Go and
exactly.
check your settings. No bullshit.
Just saying.
But yeah, it's one of those things, like the worst things in humanity have been done with the best of intentions.
Yes.
Like
Some.
the Manhattan Project was done with some
All
of
of
the
them.
best
All of
intentions.
them.
And it was one of the worst, one of the most cataclysmic events in human history. Same thing with things like you can equate that to things like the Patriot Act. Best intentions, stop terrorist attacks and needless innocent deaths. But it kind of also allows severe invasions of privacy.
Or
So-
Jurassic Park, another example.
Yep.
Jurassic Park.
Not exactly an example from history.
Wait, what do you mean?
No, it happened. It was
That we
classified.
know of.
What do you mean?
Never
I
mind.
don't understand, Jeff.
This is a longer conversation. This,
Be Jurassic Park is not a historical documentary.
I thought that was
Dude, they
is that not a
spared no
documentary?
expense.
Yeah.
Except for the IT department, as usual.
I know, right?
Anyway,
This is Linux.
so
I know this.
we are getting to the end of our time here. So I want to thank our lovely guests, the Dragon Reread. Thank you very
For
much for
having
being
us.
on here. You guys have been super fun, and we've really enjoyed your takes, both on just mysterious objects and about life, the universe, and everything.
Fun
but-
fact: you are our first actual true guest of 2021.
Hey.
Oh,
Very nice.
That's an
Awesome.
honor. I'll call it an honor. Hopefully,
Yeah.
2021 plays
Yeah,
out.
I'm glad that you
Won't be a
call it
curse.
that.
Indeed. but yes, thank you guys so much for coming on again. Now that you guys have gotten a chance to peddle your wares, if you will, here for a moment, go ahead and tell the people again where they can find you, either your Wheel of Time related podcast, your Harry Potter podcast or the podcast club, if you will? What are the best places?
Yeah, so you should check us out at thedragonreread.com, where we're doing our podcast, The Dragon Reread, and we've been rereading all the books of Wheel of Time from the start, and we do about 5 chapters an episode, and we chat about them, we recap them. So the idea is people can read along with us if they want, if they're crazy enough to read all these books. But we give them enough of the context.
one would
you don't
do
actually
that.
have to read with us
Yeah.
if you don't want to.
We don't know what that's like at all.
We've been doing this for years, like literally years now.
Since
Like I had no
2017.
concept of 2017. I had no concept of how long it was going to take us to read these books this way. But because we do like a little bit at a time, and we've been doing this since 2017, and that's
You're
and we're
older than
halfway
us.
through.
Awesome.
All right, I just have one question for all three of you. So the red stone doorway what is that a metaphor for? Is it adultery? Is it
Vagina.
rage? Vagina. Okay, cool,
Yeah,
great, awesome.
Definitely.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I just
I
wanted
mean,
to make
isn't that
sure.
obvious?
Awesome. Sweet. Well, thank you guys again.
I still don't
for
understand
coming
the twisted part.
Oh, wait.
on.
Go to
Oh,
bed.
hold on. Yeah, you don't want to know
Andrew,
about that
most
part.
men don't.
Hey-oh.
Fair.
Thank you so
I'm
much
so
for
sorry.
tuning in. Thank you so much for listening to us. You guys are fantastic. You guys are awesome. Be sure to give our guests a hand, and be sure to visit their website. Give them a like and a follow on all their platforms because they're super
Links will be in
awesome,
the
and you
description
should.
for both the podcast and the YouTube video.
So from all of us here at the Black Tower and all of us here at the Dragon Reread, I have been Josh.
I have been Andrew.
I'm
guys
Jeff
go
Lake.
now.
Bye, guys.
I'm Alice.
Go ahead, Jeff. Oh shit! I talked over everyone.
We got
I'm
him.
Sparkman.
As good at this as
Guys, we're
we are.
professionals.
Yes.
We're so good at this.
Take 2.
Okay.
I'm Jeff Lake.
I'm Alice Sullivan.
And I'm Micah Sparkman.
And I am Daniel, your Amin Khan Mahale. And from all of us here at the Dragon Reread and the Black Tower podcast, we hope that you are having an excellent morning, that you are getting everything that you want out of life. And in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good
So-
evening, and good night.
Actually, at the end of all our podcasts, we always say the light illumine you, which I figure you guys can join us if you'd like.
Oh, okay.
Do
Here
I
we
do the
go.
light illuminate?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so until next time,
The
The
light
light
illumine
illumine
you. The light. We can fix that in post production. It's fine.
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll
And
fix that in
Sure.
post.
the face of the mother
Andrew.
welcome you home.
Andrew,
Wait,
edit
what?
that.
Can you make it sound like we actually managed to do that all at once? Is it possible?
Yes. Do it.
Maybe. I'll give it a shot. I will give it a shot.
It'd be way funnier if you don't.
The audio is easy. The video is harder.
So,
Accurate.
so if we just like lip sync it a few times, you could just use whichever.
There we
version
go, there we
that
go.
was.
Yeah, no, perfect.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
no,
having us, guys.
watermelon, 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 watermelon.